Okay, Sistas fans, now this video is going to be about what seems to be the departure of Bayo. He and Sabrina had one allegedly final scene together in this week's episode. Bayo clearly did not hear what he wanted to hear from Sabrina, and he basically was shown the door and to leave on his tippy toes. What a way to have this character go out from the series. I think it's a shame because during my live stream after the episode, I was of the unpopular opinion that Bayo calling Sabrina out of her name was not worse than Sabrina using Bayo for his money and acting like she didn't. Now, I never said Bayo was right for calling Sabrina out of her name. What I'm saying is, I don't think that's worse than Sabrina using Bayo. So this video, I'll kind of break it up into sections, like when Sabrina first asked Bayo about the money, when he agreed to it and why, his first interaction with Maurice, kind of the aftermath of that leading to this final scene, and honestly why I feel like Sabrina, was just a trash character. But oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. And like I said during the live, I understand over 80% of my viewership, subscribers and whatnot are female. So I know that as a male, my perspective and opinions on certain things aren't always going to be the most popular or agreed upon. But as always, that's what the channel is about, being able to express our opinions in a reasonable way, even when we disagree. So we'll have to see the like to dislike ratio on this one. But before moving forward, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. Hit subscribe as we move closer to 300,000 subscribers. And when you hit subscribe, you'll see a bell icon. Click on that and select all. That way you're notified whenever I post content on the channel. Now, we need to go back to when Sabrina first asked Bayo for the $1.5 million to get Maurice out of jail. Now, I mean, you can even go as far back to when they first met in the series, because people, felt like something was off about Bayo, the way he came up to Sabrina and Calvin's table at the restaurant, completely ignored Calvin, even asked Sabrina for her phone number while Calvin was still sitting right there, and assumed that, oh, wow, I didn't know you two were on a date. I thought, never mind. And then Calvin got in his feelings about it. And then, from there, we move forward to the double date with, Danny and Logan and Sabrina and Bayo, and Bayo was checking out Danny the entire time. But yeah, let's just jump right to the money thing, because I feel like that's where the meat and potatoes of this conversation really needs to start, in the first place. So at the time, Sabrina had just gotten out of jail, and she's freaking out because she wants to get Maurice out. Now, a lot of people are saying like, well, Jeremy, I don't think it's just because Sabrina was nervous for her friend, but she was also potentially nervous about Maurice signing some sort of like deal to drop dime on Sabrina, basically turn traitor. It's like Maurice gets his freedom if he railroads Sabrina. And Calvin got on his case about it, but Maurice, even though he wouldn't do it, he was becoming a bit unhinged with each and every phone call he was making, talking to Sabrina and Calvin about getting them out, and like, you're not doing enough and you need to hurry up and yada yada yada. And that one lawyer was like, hey, we can make a deal, get you out of here. But he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then they would always hang the, like, I forgot how many years, were like 25 to 50 years. They would always dangle that in his face. But he said he wouldn't sign. But regardless, Sabrina was like grasping at straws trying to get 1.5 mil. It's like Calvin kept saying, like, look, this is a lot of money. I mean, Calvin was like, I forgot the exact amount. He said he had like 20, 30,000 Sabrina said she had X amount that I forgot remember, this is one of my least favorite storylines in the entirety of Tyler Perry continuity. I've done a number of videos on this very subject, so at some point I've addressed the exact amount, but let me put it this way. Calvin and Sabrina had tens of thousands of dollars, but they had nowhere near close to 1.5 million. Hell, if I remember correctly, Calvin's dad, his last remaining father alive, said he would put up his house to like get Maurice out. But, of course, Andy's like, well, that kind of bail, they can't take that. They need cash. And also it's like that. I don't think Maurice deserves even a fraction of the care his friends were trying to get, trying to get him out. Because Calvin, his roommate, who he screwed over, and to some extent Calvin screwed himself by letting Q stay. It's just the fact that they were willing to do all this stuff. His dad, who probably doesn't even know Maurice like that, if I'm not mistaken, was willing to put up his house to get Maurice out of jail. This ungrateful bastard. And what was the first thing Maurice did when he got home and saw all the stuff was gone? He just went in on Calvin. Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on that tirade. I need to stay on subject. But all this stuff is relevant. So basically, she asked Andy. He's like, Andy, can you get the money to get Maurice out of jail? And if I remember correctly, Andy never gave the exact amount, but she broke it down to Sabrina. It cost millions of dollars to get you out of jail, Sabrina. I had to call in a lot of favors to make it happen. Maurice, there's nothing I can do. And she's all pitiful, like, oh, and it's like, girl, this is $1.5 million. I mean, and then at one point she was on, I can't remember if this was before or after Sabrina went to her office, and that's when Maurice gave Andy attitude and Andy shut his ass down. But remember, Sabrina was in her apartment, and she called Andy again about the whole, hey, have you heard anything about, being able to go back there to see Maurice or get him with a lawyer or something? But basically, she once again says, Andy, do you have the money? I already told you, woman, I don't have it. What about Karen? Wait, no, she doesn't have that kind of money. I know Danny doesn't. Oh, wait, what about Zach? And Andy's like, wait, why would you even say Zach? It's like, oh, okay, I guess you're right. And then she's like, well, I think I know somebody that might be able to give me the money. And then, Bayo comes into the conversation, and Andy's like, wait, are you sure? Like, why would someone just give you that kind of money? Wait, are you saying I couldn't get somebody that can give you that kind of money? No, that's not it. So she asked Bayo the first time. Bayo said no. But remember, he came over. He was excited to see Sabrina and wanted to go out. But Sabrina's whole thing was, no, I got a lot going on right now and I can't, So he comes back again. It's like, I thought about your offer and I decided to put up the money for your friend. And you're sure that he's a good person and he wouldn't, be involved with robbery or anything. And Sabrina was like, ready to jump out of her panties. So basically she agreed to go to breakfast with him and everything because she was so happy. So in my opinion, the only reason Bayo put up the money to get Maurice out of jail was because he knew that, okay, if I get her friend out of jail, she won't be distraught or her mind will be clouded with depression because her friend being in jail is like the thing that's keeping her from going out with me. So if I get Maurice out, then she'll be free from her depression and whatnot, and we can go on a date or dates. Now, Bayo's issue here, if we move forward to, the present, is the fact that he didn't say up front, well, hey, Sabrina, if I put up this money for your friend now, here, I want you to do this, this, and this to me. So we also hear from Bayo about his thoughts on Maurice as a person. Now, at first one would think, oh, he's homophobic, but in reality, he's like, oh no, it's not like that. It's like people that do things like that, in terms of being involved with the wrong people. Like you say your friend didn't do the robbery, but he was, seeing the guy who arranged this entire thing. So that's not basically beware the company you keep, which is ironically enough what the DA told Maurice, in the last week's episode. So then from there, we have Bayo meeting Maurice for the first time. And if you go back to that scene, yeah, I actually went back and rewatched them. Like, at first, Maurice was like, very thankful, but Maurice just doing too much, introduces like, oh, the prince, and basically being overly flamboyant and kind of, saying semi-flirtatious things, and Bayo was just outright disgusted, and then he left. So from there, the seeds of he's homophobic, he hates gay people. And then you fast forward to the whole thing where his lawyer didn't show up to the jail to help out. And then he's like, well, actually, I told you my lawyer could help out your friend if he could find time. But you also have to look at it from this way. And this is just my headcanon for how this happened. Go back to when Sabrina, Calvin, and Maurice went to that lawyer's office. And the lawyer basically gave them the breakdown of the situation, from the flimsy confession that Maurice gave. But then also he told them about, hey, even though I don't think this case is strong at all, I'm also going to tell you, if you do lose, what the situation would look like. So, I want to make sure you are aware of all sides of this puzzle. Like, on the one hand, I don't think the case is going to hold up, so you should be good. But in the off chance that, things go south, you could be looking at X amount of years in jail. Go back and look at that damn scene. Look at the way that Maurice conducted himself during that meeting. Go back. Seriously, I forgot the exact... If I knew the episode number and everything, I would tell you off the top of my head, but I don't. But go back to that meeting. I can't tell you the episode number, but I can tell you one thing. Maurice was being classic Maurice. Look, I can understand that there's a difference between a man being flamboyant versus extremely extra and over the top. Guess which one Maurice was in that situation? Because that's a common complaint from the Tyler Perry fan base. Whenever Tyler has a gay character in one of his shows or movies, they're always like over the top, overly thirsty, overly rude, and just a caricature of what that sexuality, represents. Or, excuse me, a caricature or over exaggerated representation of that, group of people. And when you look at Maurice, from a professional setting, I'm not going to lie. If I were that lawyer, I would not want to help Maurice either. It's like, yeah, Bayo, I'm sorry, but this guy, no. And it's not because of his sexuality, but he is completely unprofessional, completely rude, and is unable to take things seriously. So you could say that, oh yeah, well, Bayo's homophobic because that lawyer, he told him not to help. But if that lawyer, if I were like, not just saying I'm the lawyer, but let's say I was Bayo and the lawyer gave me a phone call to explain exactly what just happened in that meeting, I'd be like, you know what, just forget it. Just forget it. And it's just crazy to me because of the fact that when we get to the most recent episode, and, well, actually, no, you had the episode where Bayo comes over and talks to Sabrina, and, the people misinterpret this scene. People say, no, well, he said sex for the money and whatnot. No. Bayo pretty much stated everything involving Sabrina being forced to marry him, go back to his home country, have a bunch of kids, be one of his many wives, the GOAT, and having the bail revoked if she says no. That was all a lie. It was. He said it straight up. He basically said this entire thing was to like showcase to you, oh, you're looking at me a certain way because of how you think I treated your friend bad. But the thing is, it's not his sexuality I don't like. There are a number of reasons why I don't like your friend. But you Americans look at my people or anybody else from like a third world country as a stereotype. So he just wanted to show her up. I understand where Bayo was coming from, but I feel like the scene was kind of out of place. And I feel like the same thing could be said in this recent episode. He comes over because I believe Sabrina called because Sabrina asked about the money. Did you get it back yet? And he says, no, not yet. Why? Well, the charges were dropped, so you should be getting your money back soon. And he's like, oh, well, we should celebrate. Would you like to go out? Well, actually, I can't tonight. Oh, well, what about tomorrow? I'm busy. This weekend? I want to be busy every night. Basically, she pretty much can't even look this man in the eye. I don't think we should see each other anymore. It's like, yeah, we can still talk and be friends, but, and then he rightfully gets pissed off, you know, basically saying that you just use me for my money, and that's wrong because I have a lot of it. That doesn't mean you just use me. You trifling bitch. Again, I don't think he was right for calling her out of her name, but going back to what I said earlier in the video, I feel like if he did have intentions, like in terms of if there were terms and conditions for the money, like, well, Sabrina, I'll put up this money to get your friend out because if I do, this means we can go out, right? And if there was things like sex and whatnot involved, maybe he could say that, but whatever. But I do think, like, you know, it wasn't a good idea to put up that kind of money. He should have stuck to his guns and said no because, hey, Sabrina, look, I like you a lot and I want to get to know you better. But for one, I don't really know you that well. And on top of that, you know, you were gone for several days. I've called and came by your apartment, but you were gone. Remember, he had no idea Sabrina was locked up in jail for, you know, those number of days she was. So when she got out and he heard about it, I would have been like, whoa, 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 whoa. You were in jail for what? Robbing a bank? And it's like, yeah, I want to believe you didn't do it, but damn, like, again, a girl, I don't even know you like that. It's like, we just met. Yeah, and it's like, I'm not going to put up that kind of money for someone I have no idea. You know, Maurice is like, you want me to help you get your friend out, but I have no idea who Maurice is. I don't know what kind of person he is. So, no. And if Sabrina, you know, didn't want to see Bayo because, well, you got the money, but you won't help me. So then Bayo dodged a bullet because it's like, again, I don't even know you like that. Why would I put up that kind of money? And I mentioned this, I was talking with another fan a couple days ago, but I mentioned this particular plot point way back when it was revealed what the bail money would be. I think Tyler inflated the amount way too much. Making it $3 million for Sabrina and then 1.5 for Maurice was extremely outlandish, and the number did not need to be that big. It could have been at like a 300,000 or no more than 500,000 tops, because that kind of money is just ridiculous. Millions of dollars. I said back then, I'm like, look, you know, I make a decent amount of change from YouTube, but I still got bills and whatnot. So it's not like I have 100 grand just sitting around where I can use that for whatever. But let's say if my mom or somebody was locked up, I would want to get them out if I had, you know, I would want to get them out. But if I, let's say, hey, bail is $70,000. I ain't got that kind of money. I ain't got that kind of money. And not to mention, you know, depending on what the case is and the charges and whatnot, I'm no expert, but I feel like common sense needs to take effect here. Okay, it will cost $3 million to get Sabrina out. What are the charges? Okay, they look pretty bad, but is it really worth spending that kind of money to get her out of jail? Or is our best bet to get like the right legal team or, you know, the right lawyer, the best of the best that we can afford on this case to win it? Because it would not be smart to put up this kind of money and then the case is lost. I forgot the exact rules on this, but I think it depends on the state and whatnot. But if you bail somebody out of jail, but then they go to trial, you get your money back. Yeah. So even if they lose the case, you still get your money because they went to trial. But still, I don't think that was a smart move. $3 million. I know Sabrina's your girl, but $3 million. And then when she gets out of jail, she's all, well, hey, can we get 1.5 more because we need to get Maurice out? It costs $3 million to get your ass out. What the hell are you talking about? And the thing about it is, I feel like Sabrina, you know, low key is just like Andy, just a straight up user. Yeah, she's all innocent and sweet and airheaded, but at the core, she's just like Andy in some aspects. Because of the fact, like, you, and look, a lot of people are saying like, well, Sabrina, you know, it was only the money that Bayo was owed back, not her body or her life or her time. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's like Bayo said, Sabrina, you did not think that I would put up that much money for your friend to get him out of jail if I didn't have some sort of investment, you know, out of it. I mean, like I said in my video, in my live, like, Sabrina lucky that, you know, Bayo isn't one of those, like, you can get some soul. You get like the Dora Milaje, like from Wakanda or some shit. It's like, look, you're gonna be with me whether you want to or not. I put that kind of money. The hell you gonna put me in the friend zone? You coming with me? It's like you just never know. I mean, this dude might be crazy. You just never know. So for her to just act like nonchalant about it, the fact that I don't know what the worst part was. The fact that she straight up doesn't want to see Bayo anymore, or the fact she is just acting all innocent like she didn't use him for the money. That's just messed up. And then the fact that she literally said, well, the reason I don't want to see you anymore is because of how you treated Maurice. And somebody mentioned this on Twitter, and I feel the exact same way as them. They said, if you go back and look at the interaction, the only interaction that Bayo had with Maurice, and then what he said about Maurice afterwards, how is that any worse or any different than the way that Sabrina judged Calvin for like the first couple seasons of the show? And I said, you know what? That is an excellent point. Now, some may argue that, well, look at it this way. Sabrina was looking at Calvin as a potential love interest, and she wanted to know if he was really straight or not, because let's be real, Calvin was doing some questionable stuff in the early season of the show, from, what he would wear and like, kissing other men like on the cheek or whatever. It's just a lot of questions where it's like, but yeah, I don't think Sabrina, I think that's a weak ass excuse. Just say, oh, well, the way you treated my friend, that's why I don't want to see you anymore. And like I said before, the way that Bayo allegedly mistreated Maurice, how is that worse than how Maurice treats Sabrina on a daily basis? Calling her out of her name and this, that, and the third. Well, yeah, well, they're friends and whatnot. So the B word is like, I'm not a woman. I don't really have, gay friends in my social circle and whatnot. So I don't really have a person calling me the B word, like the way Maurice would call Sabrina. So it's like, so I can't really say whether or not, or I can't really say that I will be hurt being called the B word like a woman would. But I think that that's just messed up. Yeah, I mean, Fatima told Karen during that letter reading crap about the B word. It's like, within my friend group, that word is like a term of endearment, but, to be used in a friendly term. But of course, we know that word also has different meanings. So if you call me that one more time, then it's a call to war. So when you look at Sabrina and Maurice's dynamic, and I think Jazz or somebody on Twitter said this too. It's like, yeah, Jeremy, I mean, Maurice is just ridiculous, because look at how Sabrina goes to bat for him. Like in this episode, or was it the episode before last, when Maurice was going in on Andy and Andy tried to, clap back, and then, Sabrina tried to shut her up. It was like, Andy, no, just don't. It's like, this is the friend that put up 1.5 million for you and got her boss to do the same. And you want her to just lay down and take Maurice's verbal abuse the same way you do. That ain't going to fly. And people are like, well, that's just Maurice's coping mechanism because of his issue. That's bull crap. I mean, yeah, he uses comedy to, hide his pain and whatnot, but that doesn't mean you can disrespect people. So I think it's completely ridiculous for Sabrina to use like one example of, oh, Bayo, you mistreated my friend, yet your friend mistreats everyone around him, especially you. So I think Sabrina is an awful person. And I hate to say it, because I remember there was a time where I said, like, if I could date any one of the sisters, the core four, not including Fatima, the core four, Andy, Danny, Sabrina, Karen, Sabrina would be the one I would choose. But no, she's a straight up user. Now, on the one hand, like Calvin, I say, like, look, just like with Aaron, I don't feel sorry for you. Sabrina has made it a number of times clear that she's not into you the way you're into her. So you offering to be her shoulder to cry on and whatnot, that's on you. No one's making you do that. Yeah, she using Calvin, yes, but at the same time, he's the one who's making himself available to her. So I don't feel bad when she decides to entertain another person, because Calvin's the one that, he did it to his damn self. And by extension, well, Bayo did the same thing. He's the one that put up the money. That is very true. But at the same time, for Sabrina to be completely dismissive, to basically dismiss all the times Bayo helped out her ass because of, oh, well, I didn't like how you treated my friend this once, so that overrides everything you've done for me. I think it's complete bullshit. And I said this in one of my other videos about Andy with Robin, the fact that he burned up a lot of favors to get Fatima out of jail, to get Zach out of jail, put up a 1.5 million to get Sabrina out of jail along with Andy, and then a number of other things he's done to help her out. Yet when he needs help the one time because of the whole Gary situation and Hayden, all she can do is throw him like a life raft or something to a loan shark to get the money for his part of the company. And then she just left him out to dry. And the reason she just, did that was because of the fact that he hurt her feelings when he confronted her about sleeping with the janitor. So basically that that just wiped away all the stuff he did for her trifling ass. So I ain't gonna lie, all these women to some extent are trifling bitches in their own way. So I think Sabrina was out of pocket for real for how she did Bayo. I think Bayo could do better, but honestly, I think I said this a couple weeks ago. I think Sabrina, and I said this about Calvin too. I said, look, once all this stuff is done with the Q stuff, Calvin needs to pack his shit. Well, the stuff he has left after Q and his friends took everything. Calvin needs to get his stuff and just move out that apartment. And when it comes to Sabrina, cut ties with Maurice, whether he gets fired from the job or whatever, or Maurice, and just like, don't deal with this fool anymore because he's not worth the trouble. And I feel like Sabrina threw away what could have been a beautiful relationship with Bayo all because of her friend. And it's stupid. It really is stupid. Rich, bruh, don't mess with her. She's not worth it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.